This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. I don't even know if you can hear him. Oh, there you go. Now you can hear him. Yep. All right, right there. How's it going, everybody? Yeah, I had the just giving you the update, the consult with the UW hospital, and they gave me, he said he does recommend surgery, but we talked about a different type where it doesn't, it's, I think it was called, let's see, foraminectomy, where they make the, where my nerve root comes out of the side, they just go in there from the back and, clear it all out so that there's a lot of space for those nerve roots. The two bulging discs aren't enough where it's that concerning right now. But in the future, the next option would be to do they actually have artificial discs that they can put in, and you can actually still maintain all of your movement. How cool is that, huh? Yeah, and then after if that doesn't work, then they can do this. So there's like 3 different stages you can go in. You don't want to go for the whole 9 yards right off the bat because there's no going back, right? So anyways, that's where I'm at. Have another sort of a test tomorrow, and I guess I'll be going up to Seattle at some point to get that surgery. Hey, thanks, Sarita. Appreciate it. Yeah, he kind of explained things better today to me. Like I wasn't able to make out. Here, let me show you guys that. What? Don't worry, I'll get to the case stuff here in a second. Okay? Don't worry.
Don't know if he'll make it tomorrow night, so here you go.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so here's the one. It was pretty interesting. I was looking at how to do it. It's like this one, and yeah, that one, and let's see, where's the other one? Yeah, it was over here to the right. This one. I think this one right here. Yeah, so what's cool is look at how it went. See the green line there? Can you guys... Oh, you guys can't see it. Let me switch over to that screen. I think it's interesting shit, man. Sometimes I wish I'd gone into doing something like that. Yeah, so over here you can see... let's see. How does that work? Yeah, so see the line right there? It actually goes down the spine. See that? So it'll tell you where you're at. See, right now we're at, I think it's, let's see, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see over here, right there, that's where there's a problem. See how the nerve root is nice and white on this side, but then really thin there? That's where the problem is. So they're going to go in and clear out the opening to make it look more like that. Or at least allow it to breathe somehow. Okay. So anyways, there you go. There's the
Hi, Gray
the
and friends. New here. I loved Michelle McNamara.
Good. I'm glad you love Michelle McNamara. Yeah. So there you go. That's what I'll be doing. So I think it's a better way to do it. I always have options later to add more to it. I can turn into a cyborg at some point. Yeah, that's what I was just explaining. Yeah, I'm definitely I'm gonna go with this guy, go up to Seattle. You know, he seemed like he knew a hell of a lot more. Like, he gave me all these options, and he even recommended the less invasive version that I just explained, where the other guy was like, boom, yeah, let's do fusing right away. You know, it's like, I don't know, a little bit frustrating, but okay. So here's the, we're going to go right into Naya Rivera death certificate. It shows that, basically I'll just read this part. The death certificate lists her burial date as the 24th. The document also confirms her death was accidental drowning. Everybody knew that. Naya disappeared on July 8th. Rivera was declared missing person after an extensive search. The body was found. Let's see, let me type. Yeah, it's right here. There was no drugs or alcohol were present in her system. Okay, so I thought it looked like maybe she had some drinking based on how she parked that vehicle, but apparently she didn't have any alcohol or drugs in her system, and she died. Either way, it would still be an accident, right? It just means that, you know, that might have contributed to it. So I guess she just parks like that, like absolutely ridiculous parking job. Michelle Mcnamara is the one who wrote the book on the and came up with the term Golden State Killer. I don't know what that has to do with the show we're doing right now, but yeah. She kind of kept the case alive out there and was friends with Paul Holes and those kind of people. Okay, so that we got that update. Then in that one case that we talked about a long time ago, remember this missing couple? They've arrested 3 more people in that one. Look at that. So right now they've got 6 people arrested, and obviously the deaths of these 2 people. Jonathan Reynoso and Audrey Moran. This is like a while ago when we covered this. Like it seemed like almost a year ago at least. But man, look at the hardcore individuals right here. Oh, look at it. Looks like they actually found the remains. I didn't realize they had found the remains. So they have the remains and they have 6 people. What was the reason for what? I don't know why they were abducted. I have no idea. Doesn't seem like they're keeping everything pretty hush-hush on that one. Okay. And then in the case of, you know, again, the mother Angela Jolly, it says, Sarpy County investigators from Omaha, Nebraska tells me Angela Jolly died of a pulmonary embolism. Alexis told investigators her mother had been praying and was told through prayer to go to Nebraska. And then she died there? I mean, God. I don't know. I'm going to have to see a toxicology report first. I mean, yeah. Maybe she died of what you think was a pulmonary embolism. But could that be caused by something else? I don't know. It just the part that bothers me is just so ridiculously coincidental that would be. They get away from the home somehow. Oh, we got to go to there. Got to go to Nebraska. You know, my prayers are telling me to go there, and then she dies there in the arms of an officer. The two brought their dogs but left behind their laptops, phones, and other devices when they suddenly left. A bank withdrawal was... So again, why did she put on her scrubs? They were listed as missing and endangered. Around 6:30 a.m. on July 29th, the Sarpy County Sheriff's Office and the Gretna Fire Department were dispatched. I inhaled some liquid a second ago. I just realized, as an adult, that you're actually supposed to swallow, not inhale liquid. It's amazing I hadn't drowned prior. Around 6:30 a.m., let's see, Julie, it's right here. I'm sorry, I can't clear this. When emergency personnel arrived, they found Angela Jolly conscious and breathing. She collapsed and was subsequently transported to Midlands Hospital, where she died. Yeah, the gallbladder surgery had nothing to do with it. Yeah, so once they were in Nebraska, the women spent 2 nights in their car outside Walmart locations. So in Lincoln and Gretna, they just kind of slept in their car. I mean, just none of this makes any sense, you know? Didn't you have money to stay in a hotel? Because that's why you were transferring money. Desiree Cook's Alexis' half-sister told people that the entire ordeal has left loved ones confused. Yeah. See, it's not just us, right? So remember the other day when that person says, oh, it doesn't seem unusual at all. Okay, well, tell that to the family members. None of Angela's close friends knew. Everyone is saying that they had no idea and saying to me it's not like her. An autopsy is planned for Thursday. Angela, so that was today. So I guess they did do the autopsy, but, you know, they're going to have to still do toxicology tests. Angela had surgery on her gallbladder a few months back, but officials do not know if that played a role. One of them, I said earlier, said they didn't think it did. The officials say Alexis is still in Nebraska with her 2 dogs. The Sarpy County Sheriff is working to set her up in a hotel. How come? I don't get it. A lot of confusion. A lot of confusion in this one. Yes, something doesn't make sense in this story. If this is really the story, I'll be shocked. But not too shocked, because we've had stories where, you know, I mean, so in this case, you have a mom and a daughter who were apparently at home. Then they're seen on camera loading the vehicle up with their 2 dogs. The mom's supposed to be at work, and she even has her scrubs on, just doesn't have her wig on. Maybe she just thought scrubs were comfortable. And the whole scrub thing has nothing to do with, there's no any reason other than that why she was wearing them. Okay, but anyways, right next to their house was a ATM machine that they're at, and she's withdrawing money and transferring money around. Then they just start driving away. And then a few days later we hear, oh, the mom dies. Oh, how come the mom died? Well, she just died. But by the way, we came up here because she had a vision that she was praying for, and we drove all the way up here, and then she just died randomly of an embolism. Don't you think that's weird? Yeah, we just said that, Elizabeth. Were you not here? My God. It's hilarious when people just show up, they weren't here, we just said it, then they go, hey, did anybody hear this? Yeah, well, yeah, we did, because we were all here watching the show. Okay, well then don't throw that in there, Elizabeth. Go up and read and see if you can find something out, okay? Gosh, Gray, you're so mean. Did you hear, Gray? Jesus. Yeah, she had visions. Then they drive way over there. And all of a sudden, she just randomly dies on this vision quest she had. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, great. Who cares? Somehow she died and they think it's natural. It could be natural. I just find like the odds of that are so overwhelmingly shitty. Don't you think? What's only 1017? What does that mean? Only 1017. Thanks, Michelle Nicholas.
Everyone coming and hit that thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Yeah, the thing is, there's just so many cases out there. I think this one's weird. I think things might come to light if there is something. I'm not going to sit there and start looking at her Facebook pages and trying to figure something out. Okay, I think they need to do some extra testing on. I don't know, but we're not there either, right? Like, it might be really obvious that the daughter was distraught and just really like it just seems weird that they left for a reason. What they were transferring money around. Did the mom have an insurance policy? Was there maybe a drug put in her system, perhaps, that, has a similar, seemingly, effects? I don't think so, Mars. That's just really unlikely. Stress can cause brain bleeds. Maybe they hurried things like withdrawing money and stuff it's a clue. I just, no. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, the weird thing is it really could just be an accidental deal, right? And she really did have visions, and they really did just take off and head over to Nebraska. Okay, even though that doesn't make sense to any family members or friends at all. Right, and then they transferred money around and then sleep in their car in a parking lot for 2 days. They were apparently supposed to be, preaching to people. So maybe they were going to preach out in the parking lot. Who knows? No, I don't think so, Alma. I really am just who I am. You know what I mean? So, have a good time. I just say how I think. If somebody says, hey, stress can cause brain bleeds, I'll say, no, I don't think so. Okay, because I think something like that is so unlikely. Oh, I'm stressed out, I'm having a brain bleed. As a matter of fact, I don't know anybody that I've ever met that's been stressed out and had a brain bleed. Now, maybe it can cause that, but I'm just going to immediately sort of rule it out there because it just doesn't make any sense. And I don't have any evidence that it can cause that. Right, okay. Yeah, maybe he had high blood pressure, and him having high blood pressure because he kept getting stressed out created a bleed in his brain, like an aneurysm, because there's a lot of pressure in there. Yeah. Well, the aneurysm one was what they said yesterday. Okay, that's what you remember that? So what Mary's Curious Life is saying, after the autopsy, they came up with pulmonary embolism. The aneurysm was in the articles yesterday. That was an assumption somebody made. Do you remember that? Well, hey, Miss Skiss, don't even take what I just said. I'm just saying Mars is the one that's saying that. I don't even know if that's real. Okay? I can imagine being high blood pressure creating that problem. Yeah, right here. So she died of a pulmonary embolism. Okay? But yesterday they said it was an aneurysm. I think it's sort of a similar deal, though, right? Well, an aneurysm is like a breaking of a blood vessel, I think, in the brain. And an embolism is like a clot. So, a little different. I hope I got that right. Yeah. Maybe all that driving, too, right? No, it wasn't a heart attack. It just, the whole story together sounds ridiculous, okay? However, everything in the story is possible, okay? So it is possible. It just, you know, when you listen to it, you go, oh, wow, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, the whole driving thing, I've heard about the sitting still for too long and stuff like that. You know, if you're not taking aspirin or... Yeah, that's what I said, Chris. Yeah. Embolism's a clot, and a aneurysm's when your blood vessel bursts in your brain. Yeah. So you can get those, like if somebody has surgery. There was a Portland trailblazer named Jerome Kersey. He had knee surgery, and he didn't really kind of rest like he should, and then something broke off in there, and he died of a embolism. It kind of sucks. Yeah, but aneurysms don't hurt, so at least it's good like that, right? You just kind of... Yes, we know, Gene. We know. We've typed it in 1,000 times. There. Gene's always is so great at repeating what everybody else already said. It's amazing. That sound. Oh, you mean that? That one? Yeah. Yep. Yep. Gene's hilarious. Yeah, we know that they're different. Yep. Yeah, it must have been like 10 minutes slow there, Gene. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna switch stories now. What's this one? Oh yeah, so in this case, she actually collapsed in the arms. I posted this on YouTube. She collapsed in the arms of the officer. And then there's also this disappearance of a trucker is suspicious. Wow. A trucker's on the other side.
In Gaucher, authorities are calling the disappearance of a truck driver really suspicious. 47-year-old Dimitri Ray Williams, 18-wheeler, was found abandoned at a rest stop. He was last seen parking the truck at the highway stop early Monday. Williams was spotted getting out of the tractor trailer and into the passenger side of a black SUV that had been following him. He was traveling from California to Georgia to make a delivery.
Well, what makes that suspicious? That makes it less suspicious at that point because he intentionally got out of the car and got into the vehicle. Authorities are calling the disappearance of a truck driver in Mississippi really suspicious. Dimitri Ray Williams, 47, was last seen parking the truck at the highway stop in Goodyear earlier Monday. Williams was spotted getting out of the tractor trailer and into the passenger side of a black SUV. It just seems like he ditched his truck and got in the car and took off, right? Williams was traveling Yeah, I remember the one that ate the shit in his the chips. Hey, hey. Thanks, Jenny Penny. Beating heart, flailing mind. Oh, here we go. Oh, thank you, Jenny Penny.
Hey Yama, miss you guys. Beating heart, flailing arms, lolling on the ground, LOLing.
You're lolling? Oh, thanks. So Williams was traveling from California to Georgia to make a delivery of chips. Just kidding. That was the case that we covered early 2 years ago about. That was a really interesting time trying to track that guy down. We almost had it too. We just didn't have street view on this one bridge that I wanted to go keep traveling on. Not that we would have found him, because it's not JK's vision. Williams was traveling from California to Georgia to make a delivery, and his employer said he often checked in during his routes, according to officials. The company used GPS to track the truck after it failed to make contact. Police recovered Williams' cell phone, but declined to say where it was. Well, see, that's interesting, that he would just get into that vehicle. It's very unusual for him, the newspaper quoted as Sailover as saying. Nobody has heard from him. He hasn't called his wife or anything. It's really suspicious. Well, if you guys get any updates on that one, make sure to send them on. That one's crazy. I mean, it's just weird. It's another weird scenario. You got a truck driver, but there was a vehicle following him, and then he gets out of his truck, probably leaves his cell phone in there. Maybe he got out of his vehicle, parked it, to go back to see who was in the black vehicle, and he left his cell phone in his car because he's just walking out to see what the hell's going on, and then the person aims a gun at him and says, get in the car. Okay? Then he has to get in the car, and it takes off. Okay? It just seems weird that he got into the passenger side, you know? I mean, wouldn't he come over to the driver's side and start talking? And what'd the guy do? Wave him around to get into the passenger seat? It's wild. Yes, everybody hit that like button. Okay, I am now going to switch over to the cold cases. Actually, but first I have another Parabon case that was solved today. Okay. Uh-oh. Hey, at least I fixed it before hitting play this time.
And for all those live streaming at home, thank you for joining us this evening. We're here to talk about some significant developments that has happened in the Nancy Doherty.
Okay, Nancy Doherty. All right, so here is the only thing that I could find, which was an article that was literally 15 years after the incident. This is in Minnesota. 15 years after the murder of a Chisholm woman, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is reopening the case with the help of technology that might be helpful in examining DNA samples. Nancy Doherty was found beaten, raped, and murdered in the bedroom of her home on July 16, 1986. After an investigation, police were unable to identify any suspects. The BCA's Cold Case Unit, along with the Chisholm Police Department and the St. Louis County Sheriff's Department, will form a task force Monday to re-examine evidence and follow up on new leads. So that was in 2001. Okay, so here we go.
Case over the last.
And by the way, in terms of, you know, when we watch these press conferences, sometimes we have these sheriffs that are a little bit nervous and jittery. This guy might be one of the worst I've ever seen. He at least he's getting his practice in. Eventually, he'll probably be pretty good at it.
several weeks. My name is Chief Vern Manor of the Chisholm Police Department. With me here tonight are several members of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, members of the family, and County Attorney's Office, and we'll be introducing them soon.
I will admit, though, sometimes I sound like he does when he's reading, okay?
This is the day Nancy Doherty's family and all of Chisholm have waited for over 34 years.
No, it's not an early 2000 case. It's a 1986 case.
Today, Chisholm Police Department investigators, BCA agents, and St. Louis County Sheriff's deputies arrested Michael Allen Carbo Jr. for the sexual assault and murder of Nancy Doherty. We are truly gratified to be able to provide some answers.
Actually, I don't know if he's a sheriff or anything, but he's running the show here. I can't read what it says. He might be like a, well, maybe he'll say in a minute. I didn't even hear what he said.
To Nancy's family about what happened. And after all these years, take a killer off our streets. Some of our investigators have worked this case their entire careers, and I am grateful for their efforts. We are also grateful as well to the BCA and to so many assisting law enforcement agencies that continue to work this case for more than 3 decades. I'd like to explain a little bit about what happened to Nancy that
Thank you, Oceanic Moonbeams.
night and how we came to be standing here today. Nancy Doherty was last seen alive just after midnight on July 16th, 1986. She had been out with a friend and was planning to move from Chisholm to the Twin Cities the next day. Her friend showed up to help her move some furniture later that day, and Nancy didn't answer the door or her telephone. Eventually, her friend and a concerned neighbor called us to check on her. When officers entered Nancy's home, we found her deceased. She had been beaten, sexually assaulted, and strangled. It appeared a struggle had occurred both outside and inside the home. Witnesses later reported hearing a woman screaming earlier on in the morning hours. While there was DNA evidence at the scene, it didn't match anyone. Over the years, investigators interviewed and collected DNA samples from more than 100 people. We pursued every tip and lead that came in, but came up empty every time. A few months ago, I decided to pursue genetic genealogy as a way to possibly generate new leads in the case. Through that process, Mr. Carbo was identified as a possible suspect in this case. Our investigators, BCA agents, and St. Louis County deputies surveilled Mr. Carbo and surreptitiously obtained DNA evidence that BCA scientists matched to the crime scene. Today, we met with Mr. Carbo and with his permission collected a swab directly from him. This afternoon, BCA scientists confirmed the match and Mr. Carbo was taken into custody. I'll now turn it over to BCA Superintendent Evans, who will speak a little further on the BCA's role in this investigation.
Well, good evening, and thank you all for being here with us this evening to share this important news on the developments in the Nancy Doherty case. I want to first start by thanking all the women and men of the BCA that worked diligently on this case for the same decades, alongside our partners from the Chisholm Police Department who never gave up on this case. In addition, the St. Louis County Sheriff's Office, St. Louis County Attorney's Office that have worked collectively together on this case to pursue leads on this investigation and to really search for the person that was responsible for Nancy's death so many years ago. BCA agents and scientists have been working on this case alongside Chisholm PD for 34 years. And the thing that we're most proud of today is that we finally give answers to her family. That's what the Chisholm community's been looking for. That's what her family's been looking for, so that somebody is held accountable for the crimes that that individual committed on that date. This crime scene was examined at that time, and evidence was collected that was really important to this investigation. We had multiple full DNA profiles that were recovered from the same individual in that scene. As the chief mentioned, genetic genealogy finally provided the lead that ultimately led to the DNA match in today's arrest. Genealogists accomplish this through a combination of comparative DNA analysis. They measure the amount of DNA and they look for people that may be related to somebody in publicly available databases. Those genealogists then search through those databases that are available in public forums, that are agreements in place that law enforcement is able to use those, and then they're able to determine if somebody was linked to that case. In this case, we got just such a lead. So today, as that sample was collected, a sample was collected from Mr. Carbo, and it was flown down to our laboratory in St. Paul, where it was examined today to have a known sample from him, and it was matched to the crime scene from all those years ago, finally providing the key.
Thank you, Randy B. 33. Yeah, appreciate it.
For all the charities. Yay, grin.
That'll definitely, a portion of that will go to charities. It's all math.
Piece of evidence that we needed.
Math, and then I always add extra, so, yeah.
In this case, to move it forward so that we can provide those answers we've been searching for. What I want everybody to know in this is we wanted Nancy's family to know from day one is while these cases to us continue year after year, they are never cold in our eyes. Every time we examine a piece of evidence or technology advances, these investigators and the chief, as he...
Oh yeah, just cut out on me, so I just sort of...
And for all those live streams.
All those years ago, finally providing the key piece of evidence that we needed in this case to move it forward so that we can provide those answers we've been searching for. What I want everybody to know in this is we wanted Nancy's family to know from day one is while these cases to us continue year after year, they are never cold in our eyes. Every time we examine a piece of evidence or technology advances, these investigators and the chief, as he mentioned, look at that evidence again to see can we provide additional answers and information so that we can solve cases, because a murder in a community can never go unsolved, and we will all work together collectively as partners to bring to justice those who harm people in our communities across Minnesota. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the St. Louis County Attorney's Office for a couple of comments.
Good evening. My name is Carl Sundquist. I'm Assistant County Attorney with the St. Louis County Attorney's Office. First off, our condolences to the family of Nancy Doherty, and also just wanted to show our appreciation for the unwavering dedication of all the law enforcement agencies that throughout the years have been involved with this case to get it to where it is now. Just today, seeing everybody work together was amazing. Tomorrow morning, it is the County Attorney's Office intent to file charges of a second-degree intentional murder, and those will come tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you. And as I said, today, Nancy's daughter, Gina, and her husband, David, are here in attendance. And while it's difficult, is elated as she is, it's difficult to speak about her mother. So she wrote down a nice tribute to her mother, and I'm here to read that. So bear with me, I'm reading this.
That's the daughter.
My mom loved to help people. From her job at the nursing home, caring for the elderly, to working on the ambulance service, helping those who needed a caring touch in an emergency. We drove to Alaska one summer, and she stopped the car so she could help accident victims until they could be life-flighted to the nearest hospital. She took care of her family as well. Everyone that knew her will say the same. She was happy, loved to take care of people, and loved her family. Until 1986, when she was taken from us, there are no words to describe the terrible holes that were left in so many lives, including my own. So many tears and struggles. She has missed so much, and I miss her love and guidance. She missed my graduation from college, my wedding, the births of her grandchildren, and more simply, everyday things like a phone call. There are also no words of gratitude strong enough for all who have contributed to solving this, who have worked tirelessly and for so many years. To the media for helping us keep this in the spotlight. After 30-plus years, I had to start wondering if I would ever know. Special thanks to Scott Erickson, Vern Manor, and Paul Girardi, Danny Fear, and all the officers past and present who worked on this case. My mom can rest now. The family would also like me to remind all of the families that are out there going through similar cases to never give up hope, because your day like this could be around the corner. I have to add credit to Gina herself. She never gave up, and she always pushed us and supported law enforcement to get to where we are today. And thank you, Gina. That was a beautiful tribute. We also would like for you to appreciate and respect the family's need for privacy at this time. And this will be the only statement from the family at this time, as they need their time for privacy as well. So thank you for respecting that. Yep. And now, if there are any questions, we can open it up for any of the panel. No, he had never been talked to before in case.
And even lived in the area.
He has.
He's lived in Chisholm the whole time. Same area. He's lived in a lot of houses, though. You know, it's weird, too, because he's kind of a good-looking guy.
The suspect
you know,
at the time was 17 years old.
The killer, he's pretty good-looking. Here, let me show you.
Right now, we're focusing strictly on this case.
I'm just... It's loading so slowly. Ugh. That was a joke, by the way.
So this is the first case solved this way, and as the chief noted, he contracted with Paranormal Nanolabs, which is a private company that does this type of work. Genetic genealogy, though, as you're alluding to in this particular case, you had an individual that was never a suspect in this case, and this particular technology was able to provide
there you
that
go.
light.
There he is.
To our knowledge, this is the first case in Minnesota that has been solved or where an arrest has been made using this technology.
Yeah.
When we approached the suspect, he was cooperative, but that's about all I can say because it's an ongoing active case at this time. Nothing that would put his DNA in the state database. Minor offenses.
Yeah, Nan looked just like that.
The suspect will be charged out of the Hemming jurisdiction, out of the Hemming courthouse.
Good question was, why was it second-degree murder?
I can tell you that he has been in Chisholm for quite a few years and has lived in the area since this happened. So that's about all the information I can give you at this time. Any further questions?
This guy's so awkward. It's funny, though. He obviously must be good at what he does because he's got a high position.
That one actually is better for you to explain.
Probably a little bit like me.
It is
yeah,
an
a little
ongoing
weird,
investigation, but at this time,
freak.
with the evidence and the information we have, that is the crime that fits at this time.
Second degree. So the evidence you have, how does that fit? He broke into the house and killed her. Okay.
Thank you all for being here.
Obviously, they weren't dating, or you guys would have been interviewing him back in the day, right? Yeah, they all think they got away with it. But like I've said before, everybody, every one of the rapists from 1970 or even like 65 to 95, every one of those people are shitting their pants every day that they're not caught, because they know when they raped, they weren't careful with their semen because they didn't know anything about DNA at that time. Okay? Very little information was known in like early 80s. So all these idiots, thankfully, left their DNA there, and they're just sitting around at their house going, oh my God, when is it my turn? When is it my... So it's great to know that they're all stressing out sitting at home. I like that. Nah, I don't think it sounds like that, Melissa. That's just the deal they could give him. I mean, who knows? Could be. Just seems like that's all the information, based on what they had. Maybe he's claiming, hey, we met just that day, and then I went over to the house, you let me in, and, and the evidence kind of supports that, and then things went awry, and then, probably something like that. They can't disprove what he admitted to, right? Like, they can't prove that it was some weird premeditated thing. So maybe it's something like that. Who knows? I mean, it could have. You could be right, I guess. Yeah, they just found him through genetics, yeah. Right, we just went over that. Okay, now I'm switching over to 4 Maryland cold cases that there's hardly any info on them, but, they are stories, too, that need to be... Somebody needs to talk about. Okay? So the first one is... This one, there's a website here, Goldie Fritz, age 21. Okay, so I'll go back and read the articles I could find on them. Oh yeah, it sucks that they didn't get caught, but it's cool that they get caught, because most of those people would have never been caught had the advancements in DNA. 2018 changed everything. The Golden State Killer. Searchers early yesterday found the body. This is 1979, March 15th. Okay, and this is Goldie Fritz. Searchers early yesterday found the body of a young woman whose boyfriend swam ashore. This is a weird story. Again, I'm sort of thinking this is a made-up story out of convenience. Found the body of a young woman whose body was... excuse me, let me start over again. Found the body of a young woman whose boyfriend swam ashore on the West Virginia side of the Potomac River. Okay? So, there's a body found, but the boyfriend had swam across to the other side. And the boyfriend told authorities that they had been surprised by a gunman while parking near the water's edge on the Maryland side of the river. The young man, Timothy Grant Mills, 19, of Clear Springs, Washington County, told police that the gunman ordered him from the cab of his truck and told him to start swimming or he would be shot. His girlfriend, Goldie Elizabeth Fritz, 20, of the small Washington County town, was still in the truck when he entered the water, Mr. Mills told investigators. The young woman was found dead in the river about 1:15 a.m. yesterday by state police and county sheriff's deputies. Her body was several feet from the bank, the searchers reported. Less than 2 hours earlier, Maryland authorities were notified that the victim's boyfriend had climbed out of the water on the West Virginia side of the river and knocked on doors until he found a family who summoned police. But couldn't you just easily do a lot of this stuff to make it look like let's say, let me just throw this out there. Let's say he drowned her, and then he swam across, because it was just all part of a ruse. He swims across the river, runs over there, and makes up this whole crazy-ass story. I mean, it could be totally true, but it's also just really kind of weird. Less than 2 hours earlier, Maryland authorities were notified that the victim's boyfriend had climbed out of the water on the West Virginia side of the river and knocked on doors until he found a family who summoned police. Maryland troopers estimated that the river is less than 200 yards wide in the Parkhead area where the truck was parked. The area is off US 70, a few miles east of Hancock. The truck was not stolen, investigators said, adding that they were trying to locate late model two-tone green Pontiac that a witness saw near the scene. Police said it appeared that the young woman drowned. Her body was taken to Washington County Hospital in Hagerstown, and an autopsy has been scheduled to determine the exact cause of death and to learn whether the victim had been sexually assaulted, according to investigators. Okay, but look at the woman died of drowning. Drowning was the cause of death of a 20-year-old woman whose boyfriend told Washington County authorities a gunman accosted the couple and told him to swim the Potomac River, officials said. Doctors who performed the autopsy told Maryland State Police there were no signs of violence on the body, so she wasn't sexually assaulted. Authorities said Timothy Grant Mills, 19, of Clear Springs, told them he and Mrs. Fritz were sitting in his truck when the gunman approached them. Mills said that the gunman ordered him out of the truck and told him to start swimming or he would be shot. Police said Mills told police that Mrs. Fritz still was in the truck when he entered the water. I mean, let me ask you this. Did they find any sort of handprints on her or anything that would indicate that somebody held her down into the water? This is just such a ridiculous story to me. It sounds like something you would just sort of think of on a whim, but they just couldn't disprove it, I guess. Investigators said the woman may have jumped into the water while trying to escape or may also have been forced to swim the river. Okay, but then why didn't that person take the truck? Anyways, I think that one's just a weird. And so it's still a cold case here. It says money was taken from the boyfriend. Okay, let's see. They were allegedly accosted by a man with a gun who forced them to lay face down on the ground. Money was taken from the boyfriend, and then both were walked to the river. The boyfriend was forced to swim across the river to West Virginia. I mean, so how can you prove that money was stolen? Other than him just saying that. It's a little bit like Jodi Arias when she staged the robbery at her grandparents' home. She said, "Oh yeah, some of my money was stolen too." Well, yeah, you get to keep it because you faked the whole thing. The body of Goldie Fritz was later discovered in the river. Drowning was listed as the cause of death. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely possible that this happened, but it's just another one of those weird stories that's hard to believe. Okay. So that was the Goldie Fritz story. Now we're moving on to Mary F. Kelly. All right. So last Sunday evening, 5 months after their mother... there was no other articles that I could find prior. That's why I'm reading this one. And this one has all the details in it. Last Sunday evening, 5 months after their mother inexplicably vanished, two little girls sat together at the Harkins Funeral Home in Delta, Pennsylvania. Or, I think it says Pennsylvania. Yeah. Pencils and notepads in hand, trying to find a way to say goodbye. They were crying and they were confused. The girls, one dark, one fair, truly had believed their mother was... What does that mean? One fair and one... like dark-haired? Is that what they're saying? They were crying. The girls, one dark, one fair, truly had believed that their mother would be coming back. They had hoped for it, dreamed of it every night since April 22nd when Mary Frances Kelly disappeared. We dream about Mommy. Every morning I heard that. Every morning, says Irene Kelly, the girl's maternal grandmother. But reality has a way of spoiling dreams, as Mary Frances Kelly's children have learned. On September 27th, state police found the young mother's body in woods off of Patterson Mill Road, just outside of Bel Air, Her daughters, ages 7 and 5, were told that day their mother was gone forever. So now at the funeral home, they have to say goodbye. The eldest, dark-haired Kelly, took her pencil and scribbled a few words on her notepad while her blonde sister, Tina, looked on. "Mom, you were always #1 with me," Kelly wrote. "I love you. I will miss you very much, but you will always be in my heart." The children's note was placed in their mother's casket to be buried with their friends and family members who knew Mary Frances. Kelly agreed that she could have been given no more precious token of the life she had left behind. Nothing was more dear to Mary Frances Kelly than her children. In the months since her disappearance, Mrs. Kelly's friends and family believe too many people have forgotten that. Miss Kelly was 28 years old when she died, divorced, unemployed, and on public assistance. On the night she vanished, police say she first visited... hey, thanks, Phil. So this is where I guess the story is explained here. On the night she vanished, police say she first visited Andy Wargo's, a restaurant and bar in Forest Hill, and then Friar Tuck's. Oh, we actually have one of those where I live. A restaurant in Rock Springs. From Friar Tuck's, Miss Kelly went to a friend's house in Churchville, police say, leaving in the early hours of April 23rd. Irene Kelly knows how that might look to some people. People make out of it what they want to, and they go out and talk. She sighs, her voice curiously devoid of emotion, as though all feeling has been wrung from it. Let's see. A resident of Hartford County for more than 26 years, Miss Kelly lost her own parents early in life and has raised 9 children to help her husband, Frank, support the children. I think this is somebody else. Let's see. Mary Frances Kelly. Okay. Ironically, Mrs. Kelly was not the kind of person who seemed destined for tragedy, her mother says. Even as a child, she was a happy-go-lucky girl who neither caused trouble nor went looking for it. In school, Mary was a good student who preferred home economics to academic and sports. She followed her domestic leanings by... I just remembered, when I bet you in high school and grade school now, they don't have home ec. Like we used to actually bake bread and cookies and shit like that, from scratch. I can't imagine them having that now. She followed her domestic leanings by marrying an Aberdeen man about 1 year after she graduated from high school, and for the next 6 years she devoted her life to keeping house and raising her 2 little girls. Miss Kelly's first child, a boy named Jerry, died in infancy. The marriage came unraveled after Mrs. Kelly's husband, had an affair, I'm going to guess. Began suffering, no, that wasn't right. I made it a guess. Suffering severe psychological problems. Well, maybe you should keep that in mind. The former husband has been hospitalized for several years. Police investigators say they have ruled out, his involvement in the death. Miss Kelly's older sister, Nancy Wilson of Bel Air, said it was not easy for Miss Kelly to end her marriage. Miss Kelly's husband made a good living, she explained. Miss Wilson recalls that Miss Kelly felt she had to leave her husband for the children's sake, even if it meant financial hardship for herself. Relatives and acquaintances alike agree that Miss Kelly was willing to walk through fire where her children were concerned. She was a perfect mother, as far as I was concerned, Miss Wilson said. Anyways, just a shitty... I'm just trying to see where the next... Yeah, it's just really about their lives. But let me read what this document says here. It's short. It's just, there's hardly anything about it. I mean, that was the only article that was written that I could find. It was so many months later. Kelly left her residence to meet a friend at a local bar and never returned home. Kelly's body was discovered in a wooded area off Patterson Mill Road in September. And she went missing in April, so she wasn't found for 5 months. So you know she was, attacked at probably a bar, had a few drinks, somebody picked her up, and she ended up being murdered. And that person will probably never get caught because 5 months there was probably no DNA or anything like that. It would have to be word of mouth by somebody. Okay, now moving on to another one. So these are all cold cases, and there's so little. You can see why they're just cold, right? There's nothing, hardly any information. So this is Sarah M. Faulkner, 1979. This one was a little bit weirder than the other one. The 58-year-old owner of a private trash collection business in Howard County and his wife were found slain yesterday afternoon in the bedroom of their Ellicott City home. Hey, thanks, Kit Kat. Just say no to donation lags.
Just say no to donation lags.
Kit Kat's hilarious. Come on. State police said Carville and Faulkner was dead of a single gunshot wound, and his wife Sarah had her throat cut. So that's a little weird, don't you think? That the husband gets killed with a gunshot wound, and then her throat is cut. I think that's just very unusual right there. Unless you have two people. It sort of makes it more personal at some point. Thanks, Allison R. We are still searching for a motive, Sergeant H. Thomas Moore, state police spokesman, said last night. Police said they had not found the murder weapon last night. Authorities said the bodies of the Faulkners were found at about 2:30 p.m. yesterday by the foreman of Mr. Faulkner's trash collection firm, which the victim operated since 1959. Thanks, One Sly Angel. Oh, that's right. It's Kit Kat's birthday. Let's do it again. We sang it yesterday, so I wasn't thinking about it today. Here we go.
Happy birthday, dear Kit Kat. Happy birthday, dear Kit Kat. Happy birthday, dear Kit Kat. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Kit Kat.
And many more.
Hey, that was pretty good there, John Boy. That wasn't too bad
Not at all.
Yeah. All right. Yes, happy birthday, Kit Kat. And thank you up there to One Sly Angel, Christine Smith, Linda Howell, and Julie W. And Sarah Beth Colagras, the individual who normally just puts a face mask on me.
Happy birthday, Kit Kat birthday
I don't
cake.
I don't think it would work, though, at this point, with all this crap around my neck and everything. Ding, 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 ding.
To help the donation lag heart.
Yeah, good for you, Laurel's Heart. Good for you. We're talking about people's birthday now, though. Humans, that are more important than dogs. Yeah. Listen, some of you I don't even really know in here, but I would save your life over any of my dogs, even though I'd be really sad.
Happy birthday, Kit Kat heart, smiling cat with heart eyes heart.
Maybe not blue, okay? Yeah. That's crazy. Police said the foreman entered the office of the trash collection firm, which adjoining the Faulkner's ranch home in the 7,000 block of Montgomery Road. Ding. That always reminds me of the Love Boat, that music.
Thank you all so much. I love the Freak family.
Yeah, for me it wouldn't depend on the person. It could be somebody I completely didn't know at all, and I would save their life first. Like, for example, here's the thing. If there was a fire in a building and my dog was in there, and I couldn't save my dogs too, I would save the person first, and then try to go get my dog. Do you understand that? Hopefully you guys would all do the same. Thanks, Amy Higg. I know, it's crazy how fast the month's going on here. The Love Boat, exciting and new. Yep, I'm so mean. Great, it's your companion, but imagine not saving the life of a human. How horrible that would be. Because you can always, get another dog, and you can't replace a human being. And you can't really replace each dog. Each dog is different, but they don't live very long anyways, right? Listen, I know, here's the thing, is I love my dogs. And I know people who love their dogs, and what I'm saying they get really upset about, but if you really think about it...
Can't believe it's end of month already.
I hope you would
Sorry,
wish
I have been MIA.
somebody
Happy
would save
birthday,
you.
Kit Kat.
Right? Well, right, but dogs don't live that long. Yeah. Okay, well, you guys are mean, alright?
You guys are so mean. You would save your pet over a human.
Yeah, that really is a little bit weird, isn't it, Mary Lou? I'm with you on that one.
Oh, well, thanks, John Boy.
Hey, thank you, Zozo
Thanks
and
for giving
Ava
us
Lynn.
something to look forward to every day. You are the best.
Yeah, well, thanks. Some people don't look forward to my show. They show up so that they can be trolls. And I found this there's this person making videos on YouTube out there. On Garrett Kurtz and
The
everything.
Love Boat exciting
And
and
there's so many
new.
people just blasting me on this little no-name YouTube channel. It's amazing. It's like, who would even think? Why are you even thinking of me? And they're using the stuff that we came up with the horse and everything, and not giving credit to anybody. It's just, oh well. Yeah, it's insane, man. All right. There were no signs of forced entry to the house, investigators said, nor were there indications of any kind of struggle. Police said last night they were trying to determine if anything in the home was missing. So again, remember, the husband was shot and the wife had her throat cut. Neighbors said Mr. Faulkner had recently had open-heart surgery and had been confined to bed. Mrs. Faulkner worked with her husband, keeping the records of the trash collection firm. She was a good manager, said Charles E. Miller, a former Howard County councilman who knew the Faulkners. A neighbor, Nancy Wiggins, said the Faulkners appeared to live quietly. She said he hired many local neighborhood youths to work for him, his firm.
Happy birthday, Kit Kat Heart.
Boom! According to police investigators, the Faulkners were last seen alive by a neighbor Tuesday afternoon. Authorities said they could not immediately determine when the couple died. Then the following day, revenge or robbery were possible motives under investigation in the Wednesday afternoon slaying of Elk Ridge couple in the bedroom of their home. The state police indicated that there were several suspects, but no arrests late yesterday afternoon in connection with the murder of Carville A. Faulkner, 58, and Sarah M. Faulkner, 56, at their ranch-style house in the 7,000 block of Montgomery Road. Faulkners owned private trash collection poultry feed business. Mr. Faulkner, recovering from recent open-heart surgery, had been shot in the neck at close range. His wife, now listen to this part. His wife, whose feet and hands were bound, were stabbed in the back and her throat slit. Man, this is some whacked out shit here, you know. So, you know, the husband maybe was just shot to take him out of the picture, or he was alive watching her be tortured, trying to get information from him, like extortion or some sort. It's just a weird story.
The chat was moving so fast, I am sorry I couldn't thank everyone for the B-Day wishes.
So how old are
Love
you?
ya all.
How old are you tonight, Kit Kat? This is really kind of crazy, right? Let's see. The Faulkners owned a private trash collector right here. Had been shot in the neck from close range. His wife, whose feet and hands were bound, was stabbed in the back and had her throat slit. So, you know, she was stabbed in the back. You know, it could have been, well, I don't know, man. That's a weird one. The house on 5-acre lot was ransacked, but several drawers were found. Thank you, Zozo. But several drawers were found open. State police received reports that several rings possibly were missing, but a sum of cash, said to be a little less than $1,000, was left untouched in the house. State police were not ruling out revenge because Mr. Faulkner, a self-made businessman, was said to be gruff and outspoken, running his business with an iron hand. Mrs. Faulkner, who performed the clerical work in managing the business, was said to be especially well liked by employees and neighbors. Their youngest of two daughters, Mary Louise Tablada, said her father was a tough and stern man. Father didn't let anybody take advantage of him. He had always been an especially hard worker. Her mother, Mrs. Tablada, said was a loving and tender woman. She cared about everyone. She said her father's first business venture was a junkyard on Washington Boulevard. They became financially successful when they entered the trash removal business, hauling residential trash under contract with the Howard County government since 1957. Here, hold on a second. All right, my wife came on, so there. Isn't that a weird one? It seems like they should have been able to solve that case, doesn't it? Jesus. That's just a really weird one. Here it says that she was 66, but I think that's supposed to be 56. 66 sort of sounds a little bit more right, but the article said 56. What do you guys think of that one? Thanks, Kindness Cake. All right. Another one bites the dust. Down, down, down.
You will now be removed from this YouTube channel.
Goodbye, Phil. All right, I got one more from... These are just really kind of random cold cases. That one... I mean, if that was now, I think somebody might have figured something out. It just seems so... like somebody would have came forward. It's just so long ago. So this is another one. Sharon A. Koontz. 1988. A 26-year-old Brooklyn Park woman was found dead in a Ritchie Highway motel room early yesterday, and state police investigators in Glen Burnie said they believe she was murdered. Sharon Anita Koontz of the 5300 block of Wasena Avenue was found about 2 a.m. yesterday at the Park Plaza Motel located at 4900 Ritchie Highway north of Glen Burnie. Police said her boyfriend discovered the body. Really? Well, what was she doing out at the hotel then?
Don't make me pull out my pom-poms again and be a cheerleader. Hit that thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, tongue out grin.
Thumbs up, thumbs up. A spokesman for the barracks said there were signs of foul play and a struggle, but declined to release further information. He said an autopsy will be sought to determine the cause of death. And then this is 2 days later. State police are investigating the slaying of a 26-year-old Brooklyn Park woman found dead Saturday in Park Plaza Motel. Sharon A. Koontz of the 5300 block of Wasena Avenue was found dead about 2 a.m. Saturday by her boyfriend, police said. The pair had been staying in room 104. Like I said, they'd been staying there together. 104 at the motel at Ritchie Highway and 9th Avenue. Mrs. Koontz was last seen... Where is this? I just want to see what this looks like. Ninth and Richie. Yeah. Huh, so it's, this is just a bunch of motels right here. Definitely looks like, it could be this one over here or this one. I don't know if there's none on the other side, so it's either one of these two right here. Yeah, I can't make out the numbers. Just total dive. Well, this is a motel. Is this also a motel? This other one? Yes, that's a motel also. So, either one of those, I guess. Well, no, it's a 5300 block. Okay, I guess they lived somewhere else, but they were staying at this motel here. She was last seen at 9 p.m. Friday with a man getting into a cab parked on the block, Baltimore's red light district. So maybe her boyfriend allowed her to turn tricks or something. And Mr. Jackson released few other details about the case, saying that police were afraid that doing so would aid the escape of Mrs. Koontz's killer. I don't want to comment on evidence collected in the room until we were a little closer to the suspect, Mr. Jackson said. At this time, we have no substantive leads, nor do we have anyone we consider a prime suspect. Police last night began circulating a photograph of Miss Koontz in the hope that someone had seen her and the man. Mrs. Koontz, who has brown eyes and hair, was last seen wearing a long-sleeved black sweater, stonewashed denim jeans, and tan leather shoes. Police asked that anyone with information about, so that number's not going to be any good. And the same article here, it says, on July 23rd, the body of Sharon, this is 1988, the body of Sharon Koontz was recovered in a motel room in the 4900 block now of Ritchie Highway in Glen Burnie, Anne Arundel County, Maryland. It was alleged that Miss Koontz was a streetwise prostitute. There you go. Okay. Who often took men to motel rooms. The motel room in which Miss Koontz was found showed no signs of forced entry. So, I think that was a serial killer in that case, You got one of those guys, maybe, or it could be somebody that didn't have any money, didn't want to pay, but at the same time, that's what serial killers do. They just go in and they just kill them. It's like they are candy to serial killers. Okay? So, that's my opinion on that. Might not be, but at the same time, it could be. And those are always the ones that aren't solved, you know. What they should do is, if they have DNA from that, is put it into CODIS and see if it matches any other unknown DNA samples out there. Okay, now I'm moving on to these 3 different ones that are in Texas. Okay? So the first one is Vicki Stroud Stokes. It's kind of hard to read. This is 1975. Let's see. 2 farm laborers attracted to an abandoned cellar by a strange odor found the decomposed nude body of a woman late Tuesday south of Wolford. Justice of the Peace F.H. Rowland, who was at the scene when the body was brought out of the cellar, said the unidentified woman could have been dead for at least a month. There's no question about it. She was murdered, Rowland said. The scene of the grisly discovery was about 15 yards from Texas 41, 1/2 mile west of the highway's intersection with Texas 179. Now let's see. Texas Highway 41. And then they said it intersects with, I think that said 179. Yeah, 179. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. That's 179. Does it just keep going, or? Yeah. This is 41 here. Problem is, I don't really have time to do this part of it tonight, because I only have a certain amount of time where until I get the aching feeling in my neck. So it'd be cool to see that location, but 41.5. Oh wait, 15 yards from Texas 41, 1/2 mile west of the highway intersection with Texas 179. So let's see, Texas 179. Okay, so that's 179. Seems kind of short though. Does it keep going? So it just goes into the town and seems like it's done at that point. Yeah. Anyways, guess we won't be able to find that. James Mitchell said 2 of the workers, Don Hendon, 18, and Adolph Acevedo, 25, both of Wolford, were in a field changing irrigation pipes around 5 p.m. They traced the smell to the storm cellar, opened the door, and discovered the body of Mitchell. Mitchell said. The woman was lying on a blood-spattered mattress pad and was clad only in men's woolen socks. I mean, how crazy is this one again? So they go down in the cellar. There's a mattress down there. And it's just totally covered with blood, and she's got men's wool socks on. Blood-covered pillowcase near the cellar. The woman was wearing a wedding ring, according to Don, adding Deputy Sheriff, a set of what appear to be tandem tire tracks from a truck led from near the cellar door to the highway. Bullen indicated the woman was probably killed elsewhere and dumped in the cellar. In my book, she was killed and thrown in there, he said. The woman's race could not be immediately established, but Sheriff Department Captain Arthur Casey said he felt she was probably white. The woman's hands were well cared for, the justice of the peace said. She had fingernail polish on them, and it looked like she had kept them well. Deputies searched the area near the cellar late Tuesday, but found nothing that might help in establishing the woman's identity. Bullen said the cool air inside the closed cellar could hinder the pathologist in establishing time of death, and it would have slowed down decomposition too. Okay, and then Kathy Stroud Wright identified the ring taken from a dead woman's finger as one she made especially for her sister, 18-year-old Vicki Stroud Stokes. My God, it's hers, Miss Stroud said Saturday. I know it's hers. I made it. And left is a family friend, Mrs. Bonnie Nichols, who accompanied her. That would suck. A tearful 21-year-old Lubbock woman late Saturday identified a ring worn by an unidentified dead woman as the ring she made for her younger sister. That is the ring I made, said Kathy Stroud, after sheriff's deputies brought the dead woman's ring to her at Avalanche Journal offices. Miss Stroud earlier had identified the ring from newspaper stories and glossy print. I had trouble because it's cracked, but without any doubt at all, that's the ring. Miss Stroud said she made the ring in a Coronado High School art class in 1971, especially for her sister, Vicki. Stokes, 18, has not been seen by members of the family in 2 months. The ring taken from the finger of a decomposed body pulled from the Wolford Farm cellar Tuesday had been regarded by sheriff's investigators as their only lead into the woman's possible identity and ultimately her slayer. Last time I saw my sister, she was wearing it, Miss Stroud said. Miss Stokes, a former Coronado student, was married about 4 months ago to an oil field worker believed to be working in Hobbs, New Mexico. The body, discovered by 2 irrigation workers near State Highway 41, was nude except for the ring and a pair of men's dark purple socks. According to Miss Stroud, I wonder if she was held somewhere for a while. It just seems weird about the socks unless she was wearing her husband's socks. According to Miss Stroud, her sister often wore... There you go. Next sentence. Often wore men's socks, and purple was her favorite color. So probably wearing her husband's purple socks. Technicians at the Department of Public Safety lab in Austin are trying to classify the dead woman's fingerprints. Miss Stroud said her sister, married to a service veteran, had a military identification. And that's her right there. I think if you squint your eyes, you can see her better. Miss Stroud and a family friend, Miss Bonnie Nichols, in 4709 Avenue, said they went to Sheriff's Department Saturday asking to see the ring, and they identified the ring. Okay. Police can't identify body in Lubbock cellar. So there's still... This is weird because this article is a day after that, but I think that they obviously did identify her. Authorities identified body of woman found in cellar. Okay. So the woman's nude body found in an abandoned cellar had been identified as that of Vicki Stroud, 16, but authorities have still not been able to determine when or how she was murdered. We are now attempting to determine a cause of death and perhaps set as best we can a time of death. Because of the decomposed state of the body and the time we found it, and the fact it has been in the cool, moist cellar for some time, we just haven't been able to establish either at this point. A pathologist said the victim could have been dead from 10 to 30 days, but he could not be more precise. Blanchard said the apparent cause of death was some type of blow to the head, but at this time it was not definite. The victim was positively identified by fingerprints matched with those on a driving license. Let's see. We now for sure know that the body was that of 18-year-old Vicki Stroud Stokes. Her husband turned himself in, and we've talked with him. Turned himself in. Donald Stroud, a disabled Vietnam Marine Corps veteran who lives in Levelland and works at an oil-filled roughneck, told deputies he had not seen his wife of only 4 months since March 29th, the day before Easter. He said he did not file a missing person report because of family trouble. The body was discovered last Tuesday. That's kind of a weird answer. What do you mean? Why would you have filed a missing persons report? Oh, you mean you weren't able to, probably wasn't able to get a hold of her, but didn't file a report. It's a little bit suspicious, to be honest. Yeah, so here's an inquest was going to be planned. Inquest on June 17th. An inquest to determine the time and cause of death of Vicki Stroud Stokes probably will be held within the next 2 weeks. I went to get it done. I want to get it done, Bowen said. It's got to be in the next 2 weeks. Bowen said he has been in contact with Lubbock pathologist who is attempting to determine if a trace strychnine found in the young woman's body is a lethal amount. I expect that will be cleared up sometime this week in regard to medical technicalities. Miss Stokes' nude and partially decomposed body was discovered April 29th in an abandoned storm cellar south of Wolford. Shortly after the discovery of her body, Bolin issued a temporary ruling of homicide, but decomposition of the body made it impossible for the pathologist to determine a cause of death. Bolin said the 18-year-old woman have suffered a head wound. Could have suffered a head wound. Bolin indicated he will not use an inquest jury to determine time and cause of death. I don't feel it's necessary for a jury on this inquest. An unspecified number of persons will be subpoenaed. Interesting. Okay, now we're moving to this one. Similarities found in slaying of 2 women. See, here we go. Bodies of 2 18-year-old newlywed women were buried in Rest Haven Memorial Gardens this year. Both of them had attended Coronado High School, and both of them were murdered. Deborah Sue Agnew Williamson and Vicki Stroud Stokes were attractive young women who died at the hands of another just a few months apart. Mrs. Williamson's body was found by her husband, Carly, Monday morning in the patio area of the couple's 1115 82nd Street home. She had been stabbed 17 times. The nude and partially decomposed body of Mrs. Stokes was discovered April 29th in an abandoned storm cellar south of Wolford. Police say they have investigated the possibility of a connection between Mrs. Williamson's murder and the still unsolved murder of Mrs. Stokes, but believe there is no evidence to show that the 2 murder cases are connected. The Avalanche Journal had received reports, however, that the 2 women knew each other and that There are several similarities in their deaths. Mrs. Williamson had been married less than 3 months when she died. Mrs. Stokes had been married only 6 weeks when she disappeared. Both victims had military dependency identification cards. When Mrs. Williamson's body was found, she was partially disrobed. Miss Stokes was found wearing only a pair of socks. A preliminary ruling by Justice of the Peace Charles E. Smith indicates Mrs. Williamson had not been raped or sexually molested. Pathologists were unable to determine if Stokes had been the victim of a sexual assault due to the advanced decomposition. Miss Williamson had been stabbed in the head, neck, and back and upper torso, although Justice of the Peace F.H. Bullen ruled in July that the immediate cause of Mrs. Stokes' death was strychnine poisoning. He said undetermined factors also may have contributed to the young woman's death. Some law enforcement officials have theorized Miss Stokes also may have been stabbed or otherwise wounded in the shoulder area. So she must have been really decomposed. They just couldn't tell. Bloody pillowcase had been found nearby. Yeah, so what about the bloody pillowcase and mattress? And you guys claim she was dumped there, but why she wouldn't have been bleeding if she was killed somewhere else. Another similarity in the cases is that so far neither sheriff's deputies nor police have been able to come up with a strong suspect or motive for either woman's death. Detectives have, however, received the Department of Public Safety laboratory reports on the fingernail scrapings taken from Miss Williamson's body and on hair found in her hand. The AJ, well, I hope they stored that. Although I think this case may have, I can't remember now, let's see. The AJ has learned that something unusual may have been discovered during laboratory tests. Sheriff deputies were unable to obtain any such evidence from Mrs. Stokes' body. Police have refused to release the findings of DPS pathologists. The testing was done to indicate whether the skin, blood, or hair found underneath Miss Williamson's fingernails was her own or that of her attacker. Disappearance of a wedding album came to light Thursday. That's interesting. Investigation of the murder of Mrs. Williamson, but detectives think the disappearance may have little to do with the case. Captain Wayne Love, head of the detective division, said the wedding album apparently disappeared from the South Lubbock home the day following the 18-year-old woman's murder. Well, maybe it has something to do with it. It could have been that somebody that is well known by the family was in the house and removed the wedding album because they knew that there was a picture of them in there. How about that? Could you think maybe that might be it? That they went there and went, oh my God, I'm in some of these pictures. The album was definitely there at the Williamson home the night of the murder, Love said. Love speculated that the album may have been taken inadvertently by a family member. Okay, well, why don't you go ask the family member? The only other missing item following the murder is Mrs. Williamson's purse containing approximately $120. Detectives have been unable to locate the purse or the weapon used in the murder. A preliminary oral report from the pathologist who performed the autopsy on the young woman said a 4 to 5 inch double-edged knife probably was used in the attack. Jeez. Investigation of the Williams case has been characterized by few clues and fewer leads. Let's see. Love declined Thursday to identify persons interviewed in the investigation. He said releasing the person's names could cast the wrong light on them in the case. Mrs. Williamson apparently was last seen alive by her parents, who dropped her off at the South Lubbock residence after eating at a local restaurant. Her husband, Doug, told police he talked on the telephone with his wife about 9 p.m. Sunday. She planned to meet Williamson later at a local pizza restaurant where he is employed, police were told. Williamson told police he called the home again at 10 p.m. Sunday, but received no answer. He discovered his wife's partially nude body shortly after 1 a.m. Monday, lying on a patio behind the residence. I think this is actually the house right here. So there you go. There's the patio behind the residence. That's where she was found. And look how that's blocked the view there. You know, like there's not even any windows there or anything like that. Fence all the way around. So she was found right there on that patio right there. Jeez. Yeah, so this is the Williamson story, her articles. The other one was just a continuation of... So let's see. The partially clad body of Deborah Sue Agnew Williamson, 18, was discovered Monday on the carport of her home. Here, an officer said she had been stabbed at least 15 times in the head, neck, and back. Probably somebody that, you know, it sounds like a rage killing, like somebody who wanted her, but she married the other guy. Police said the woman's undergarments were partially removed, although according to Justice of the Peace Charles E. Smith, a preliminary autopsy indicated that Mrs. Williamson had not been raped. Police said they have not determined a motive in the slaying, nor were there any suspects. Let's see. Detectives late Tuesday night had a knife in their possession, but were not speculating whether it was the same weapon used to brutally murder 18-year-old Deborah Sue Williamson. The knife was reportedly found lying in the middle of the highway after a citizen called police and reported he had seen it. Whisked away by officials to an unknown destination, the knife, wrapped in a manila envelope, appeared to be at least 8 inches long. Detectives have been working non-stop on the case since Mrs. Williamson was found dead by her husband shortly after 1 a.m. Monday at the couple's residence at 1115 82nd Street. She had been stabbed at least 17 times. Saying they have no definitive suspects in the macabre case, detectives are awaiting Department of Public Safety laboratory results on fingernail scrapings obtained from the young woman's partially nude body. So hopefully they stored all this stuff. Meanwhile, police units have been alerted to the description of Miss Williamson's faded blue purse, which is still missing. The purse contained $120 of cash, personalized checkbook, and a rust-colored billfold, according to reports. The billfold is said to have contained pictures, personal papers, and the young woman's military dependent identification card. Detectives said they have conducted numerous interviews since the woman's body was found at 1:14 a.m. Monday by her husband of less than 3 months. At least one interview was conducted Tuesday morning with a man who accompanied Williamson to the home after police were notified of the incident. Police are asking the public's cooperation in the case and urging anyone who has any information, who has seen anything suspicious, to notify them immediately. Looks like that. Let's see. Meanwhile, investigators appear to be hinging on fingerprints, footprints, and tire tracks obtained at the crime scene. There are no fingerprints or footprints that we can tie to somebody. Hargrave, who was heading up the investigation, said the woman apparently put up a minimum of struggle against her attacker. Bricks, well, it'd be hard, you know. I mean, you get stabbed 17 times quick, maybe. You're probably not. Bricks from a nearby patio were taken by detectives after bloodstains were found there, Hargrave said. I wonder if that's exactly what I was just looking at. You see the bricks in the back here? Detective Sturmish said that Mrs. Williamson was tacked in the carport area. So right here, is that the carport? Well, hell, let's just go down the street view. We don't need to. Oh man. What the heck? Man, that put me like in some crazy... Maybe they redid this area. Okay, well that's the house right there. But look it, I want to go this way. And then it switched. I think this has all just been redone lately or something. Let's see what happens. So that's the house, and then if we go to satellite imagery, no, that should still be there. Well, 2018, it looked like this. That's the last satellite shot. So let's see what the date of the street view is. I bet it's gonna be real. Yeah, this is. So this is from June 2019. If I go right there and then take this little... Yeah, and now all of a sudden, like, I'm some weird place. Wow, that's some weird shit right there. Yeah, and you can't even move correctly in there. Look at that. Oh, wow. Look where that put me. Where am I right now? Come on, Google Earth. Stitch that together better next time. All right? Okay. Well, anyways... That's just another one of those wild, unsolved cases, right? Stabbed 17 times and just... She's found right there. Okay, and then there's one more case. But it was interesting, the similarities, right? That both were 18 years old. Both were newlyweds. Both had military identification dependent cards, right? Pretty strange, huh? Now we've got Lorraine Sorrells. Although this one's solved. It was just kind of weird. She was found in oil wells, and two guys. There was people that were arrested for it. I kind of wanted to read the long description of it, though. There was. Okay, yeah. Let's just go over this. Right here. Lee County Sheriff deputies were searching Friday for two Hobbs, New Mexico men charged in the April 25th slaying. I think this is in New Mexico, this one. Slaying of 23-year-old Hobbs woman whose nude body was found floating in an oil slush tank near Eunice. Charged in the slaying are John Henry Weaver, Jr., 28, and Larry Eugene Starks, 23. Investigators said the two men vanished the day after the body of Lorraine Sorrells was discovered on April 29th. The charges were filed with Magistrate Judge Drayton Wasson. Deputies were tipped off on the two suspects when a juvenile arrested in connection with two armed robberies in Missouri told them he had seen the woman killed and identified the two suspects. Another Hobbs man told lawman Weaver had told him about the slaying, but he didn't notify authorities because he didn't think Weaver was telling the truth. The Hobbs man said he met the two suspects in a bar. Lawman said the victim was last seen about 10 p.m. April 24th at Hobbs Lounge. She is believed to have died in the early morning hours of April 25th. Her body was found in an oil slush tank about 3 miles north of Eunice by an oil field worker. The juvenile witness told deputies the men picked up Miss Sorrells and drove her to an oil lease south of Eunice, where she was criminally attacked and beaten. The men then took her to a lease north of the community and dumped her nude body in a tank, according to the witness. The woman's clothing was later found at the scene of the attack. An autopsy revealed the cause of death to be severe blow to the head. Lawmen said Weaver left Hobbs and his wife and baby. Lubbock Sheriff C.H. Blanchard said there were some similarities between the Sorrells' death and the killing of 18-year-old Vicki Stroud Stokes. See, isn't that weird? That's why this one popped up. Who was found April 29th in a storm cellar south of Wolford. However, Blanchard said the similarities may be only a coincidence. A cause of death for the woman has been established, but Peace Justice F.H. Bolin of Lubbock has issued preliminary verdict of homicide in the case. All right, I think this breaks down some of the shit. I thought it was just sort of interesting. I kind of glanced over this. The chain of circumstances leading to the death of Mrs. Lorraine Sorrells was developed by District Attorney J. Hey, thanks, Zozo. J. Leo Cathy and his Lovington assistant. Magistrate. Let me go down here. Weaver sat impassively through the. Let's see. Bearing. It's kind of hard to read this article the way it's how it printed. His taped voice as it related to events. The following highlights were revealed in his recorded account of the happenings of early morning April 25th. He and two other persons, one of them Larry Stark, 29, also of Hobbs oilfield worker, charged with murder in Mrs. Sorrell's slaying, and a 16-year-old juvenile now under indictment in the murder, picked up Mrs. Sorrell as she was walking on Marlin Street near La Conga Motel. He estimated the time at about 1:30 a.m. They purchased beer at a package store, then drove to Eunice when Weaver visited the home of his sister and obtained a bedspread. With Stark, to whom Weaver referred to as Pee-wee, driving the four, started back to Hobbs but stopped on a little, I don't know what that says, Caliche Road on the highway loop north of Eunice. There, according to Weaver, Mrs. Sorrells willingly engages in sexual relations with Starks and the juvenile. I doubt it. Weaver said he tried to make love to her, but could not because he was thinking of his wife at home. Oh, God, how ridiculous. He said that in the course of performing an unusual sex act, Pee-wee went crazy and started hitting the woman and throwing rocks at her. Weaver said he also hit the woman because he was sick at the stomach as a result of the performance he had seen. He said he tried to get her to put her clothes back on, and she refused. Of course she did. What a load of shit. Weaver said Stark yelling, "We've got to be sure she's dead," prevailed upon the other two to help load her into the red and white Mustang Stark was driving. Weaver said at the time he thought the woman was dead. Stark Weaver said he drove right to a tank battery west of Eunice where there were 3 storage tanks. Sounds a little bit like the, not to mention Watts, but remember the tanks in that one. And a smaller tank that he believed Starks knew the small tank was there. With Weaver and the juvenile help, Weaver said the woman was hoisted up over the edge and into the small tank. Yeah, that's just tiny writing here. She was still alive, Weaver said, moaning and making noises, and Stark still yelling. "We've got to be sure she's dead," jumping into the tank and stood on her. Weaver said that he got into the tank too and tried to get a hold of Pee-wee, but could not do so because I was standing in all that muck. He said the juvenile also got into the tank and tried to get a hold of Starks. He estimated they were inside the tank from 3 to 5 minutes. So you were trying to save her? Come on. The 3 men then drove back to Hobbs, and Weaver went next door to the home of the neighbor who woke them up and told them what had happened. He said he had told his wife what happened and said that after he had undressed his wife, threw his clothes into the garbage can. Huh? He said Starks brought a knife into the house and told him it belonged to that woman. Weaver said his wife threw the knife into a hole in our bedroom. Into a hole in our bedroom? What does that mean? Weaver said the bedspread had been thrown out of the car and they drove. This just sounds like just a total load of shit, like every single word that's in it. Anyways, sounds like it was a horrible death for Mrs. Lorraine Sorrells. Now, a couple of them got released over the years, but I think a couple of them were sentenced forever, for a long time anyways. Yeah. Some technicalities were at play there, but to be honest with you, my neck's kind of getting sore here and I gotta get off of here. You know, what sucks is doing all the research to do the shows takes a lot of the time where my head's got to be propped up. It'd be great if I could just do a show, and then it wouldn't be sore, but it is what it is until we get my surgery. Hello. But anyways, I hope you guys found that those interesting stories. There was a lot of cold cases right there. A lot of stories that you'll never hear about ever again. Hit the like button, 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 hit the like
30, sir, 25 to enter out. I'm at 30, 30, now 5, I'm 35.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like reading through those old articles with you guys because that's where you get all the details. They used to be able to get so much more information than they have now. Thanks, Julie W. Yep, tomorrow night. Donation night. Maybe we'll just do a call-in or something. Anyway. Wow, come on, Chloe, you're going nuts. So thank you to Sarita for the cat eye donation, Melissa Crone Carvel, Michelle Nicholas, Jenny Penny with the cat eye donation, Randy B, Rochelle Black, Kit Kat, Allison R, One Sly Angel, Christine Smith, Linda Howell, Julie W, Sarah Beth Bulligrass, Kit Kat, Amy Higgs, Zozo, Ava Lynn, Audio Caspian Horses Rock, Kit Kat,
Pre-donation night.
Kindness Cake, Michelle Nicholas, Zozo, Nan Sullivan. See, that's why I would save a human first over Chloe. Okay. Julie W. Gray, you're so mean. Thanks, Juju Positive. And then also, we've got Julia on PayPal. Thank you. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah, don't worry about the likes, everybody.
Throwing kisses, 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 throwing kisses. Here's me blowing kisses to the freak family.
Yeah, well, the thing is you know, the show I did last night, it shows the downloadable version, it's 2 hours and 44 minutes, but it only has 2 hours again. It doesn't have the first part of it. And that part had the meat of the show, not my political rants at the end. Okay? So I don't know what the deal is there. They screwed up again. All right. So anyways, I really appreciate you guys with all the support here. We're going to have a good donation night again. So that'll be good. And thank you all for all the well wishes and so forth. It's always good. So that's it, everybody. Thank you very much. Make sure that you continue to wash your hands before you ever eat anything or touch your face. Wear a mask and maintain your social distancing. All right? Awesome. So that's it, everybody. And my face doesn't actually look like this. This pad's squishing it in. Oh no, that actually worked. The face mask worked. That has to have been Sarah Beth Colagrass. I'm not sure what you're doing. Are you throwing dominoes onto my face? Yep, it worked. Oh boy. Yes. Well, thank you, everybody. And as I always say, everybody, we'll see you guys tomorrow. But until next time, be safe out there. Although I think I need to wait for this face mask to finish. Anyway, yeah, okay. Be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and fool me like a little projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Green's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector, fool deflector, interceptor, and I mean a real specter with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you.
All right. Wow, that was so fun and neato. That was really cool. Man, that was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen in my life. I mean, seriously, it was the greatest show that I've ever...
Well, would you shut the hell up? I mean, he's had better shows, but yeah, well, it was pretty interesting.
Gosh, you're so mean, John Boy.
Well, I mean, if you sit there and make up all this crap, like, oh my god, it's the greatest show that I've ever seen.
What do you mean? I thought it was the greatest show I've ever seen. Can I just think it was the greatest show that I've ever seen?
Yes, you can say that, but I won't believe you, okay? I really won't.
Oh, that's so mean. I have the right to believe whatever I want, and you don't let me believe what I want because you're so mean.
No, I'm just being honest with you. You know that wasn't the greatest show that you've ever seen, but you're saying it.
Oh, how do you know? Gosh, Gray, you're so mean.
Wait, why are you saying Gray? I'm John Boy.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, hey, John Boy, you're so mean.
Good night, Mary Lou.
Good night, John Boy. Even though you're so mean.
What a bunch of wackos, man. Hey, it's tough. You got to go back and forth. All right, everybody. Be safe out there. Oh, and happy birthday, Kit Kat.